First off, I just want to say congratulations to Charlotte. Fell a little short at the end, but they did a yeoman's job in some really difficult circumstances with injuries. They're trying to develop players, they're trying to win games, they're trying to still grow hockey. And from Jordy Kinnear, the coach, to Tara, the president, everybody was so wonderful to work with. So really proud of that and what they managed to do. And all of our staff and everybody involved was fantastic. We acquired Daniil Tarasov from Columbus. Was that yesterday? 2 days ago? Yeah. So he'll kind of solidify the back end of the goaltending. He was drafted when I was there, but it's the goaltending decisions come from the goaltending department, so it happened to be a little bit of a coincidence. But he's a great big guy with a lot of potential, and we really think that working with our people will be a great opportunity for him, and that that it's a bright future for him, and that he can help us in obviously solidify our goaltending, but continue to grow. So that'll be fun. Justin Sordiff was a guy who really has been a great Panther. He played one game, but he's been a Panther. He's worked. He's overcome injuries, and he had an opportunity to get moved on to potentially get some playing time. And I want to thank him for everything he's done. He's a wonderful person, and we wish him nothing but the best. Thrilled about Sam Bennett. That's a guy who, when he came here, if somebody would have told him, you know what, he might have believed it. But I remember in Tampa when he got here the first day, and then reflecting back on when he's lifting the Conn Smythe. And that's the guy that we talk about. We talk about guys like that to our children. If you believe in yourself, if you do the work, if you get back up when you have those down times, this is the kind of stuff that can happen. So really happy for him. I loved his Instagram or whatever it was. And I'm just really happy. That's a special person and a Panther through and through. So we're happy to keep him. Today we started with our first pick. We took Mads, I'll try to pronounce it, Kluvo, who's actually Danish, but plays in Frölunda in the Swedish league. And he's a kind of an underrated skill scoring touch guy who plays hard, who's got a lot of compete and a lot of speed. So he'll be an interesting guy. Shea Bush is a power forward from Everett in the Western League. Good size, plays in the hard areas, and there's kind of a theme with some of these guys of getting hard players, and hopefully having them prepared for Coach Maurice when they get here. Shamar Moses is another big right shot winger from North Bay in the OHL. Arvid Drott is a fast, hard-working winger from Djurgården in Sweden. Pretty sure that's Horny's team. And Brendan Dunphy is a giant defenseman who's a long-term guy building his two-way game. He's committed to UConn and playing in Wenatchee in the Western League. And then finally, Yegor Midlak, surprise, surprise, is a Russian goalie. So I don't know if Lou goes there in his free time or whatever, but those are our picks today. And we're really happy about it because we're able to add some players. Sometimes, you don't have those high picks, but you're still able to add quality players who all the guys think are quality people as well. So it's really exciting. And I guess I can open it up to questions. I don't think I left anything out.
Bill, just to start on two specific guys in particular. So first, Clivo had a big year with the Danish national team, got the help get them both at UH and U20 back up to the main group.
Mm-hmm.
When you're in the mid-round, does it kind of factor into you can draft a guy that's going to be playing internationally in those big tournaments and kind of cut his teeth in those big moments where maybe in the mid-round you typically can't find guys like that?
Yes, if you knew going in, and that was a strategy, and I think sort of that's. I'm trying to explain myself not very well. I apologize.
It was similar with Sanders, obviously.
So sometimes you have these opportunities, and the fact that he's Danish lets him get onto some bigger stages easier than other people. Now, kind of think no matter what nationality he was, he'd probably be a national team guy. But you're right that those experiences really, really help with the development. And they're also really helpful in scouting, because the better competition you can see them play at, the better they are.
And then other one on mid-left, like you said, I was going to ask another Russian goaltender that gets 3 of 5 years. Maybe a better question for Lou, but how much does this organization just kind of like the development path over here? There, all three guys you have over there are playing well. It seems like they get to marinate over there for quite a while.
Yeah, you know what? It's best available guy, right? So then you make your list, and they could be from literally anywhere, and then you just sort of take it as it comes. And, you know, we've had a lot of success. Obviously, I think, look, we didn't draft Bob, but Bob, I think Bob is going to be very helpful for some of the young guys, because that literally is your idol, right? So if you're a quarterback and you could play for the Dolphins, there's Dan Marino, oh my God, right? So I think it's helpful, and certainly we've been very, very fortunate with the skill level of those players.
Bill, for you, last year, obviously, you guys win, you have the parade, and then right into July 1. This year, having about a week in between that, just did you get a chance to actually enjoy yourself a little bit this year? And how much does that extra time help with preparing for the draft and then ultimately what's going to be coming up next week?
From a time perspective, it's so busy that I can't, if you ask me the difference between last year and this year, I'd have to think back. It seems like the same. And I think we had 2 days only. The parade for me was surreal, because last year I thought was something that couldn't be duplicated. And now it's like, it's duplicated, there's more people, but it was that same level of enthusiasm for me. I sensed it. And it was just a beautiful sunny day. And I think the most special thing, other than being with my family and friends, was picking out in the crowd, like making eye contact with people that you knew, or that one fan you always run into, and you know, and in the midst of these thousands of people, you're seeing that person, and it put a big smile on my face, and we just laughed the whole day. It was wonderful. I think I don't know, I think everybody who went really enjoyed themselves and felt a part of it.
What do you think of this setup for the draft? Kind of like the COVID drafts of a couple of years ago.
Yeah. So selfishly, you know, it's checks and balances. You like being on the floor. You like being able to walk over and talk to people. You kind of like seeing what else is going on in case maybe I want to get in on it. The flip side of that is you can sit at your table. You can walk in and have sort of fuller conversations with the group without you standing on the railing looking at my PC. So,
Bill's on the phone.
George is behind. He's tweeting it. Bill's picking his nose. So it's both, and there's wonderful parts of both. So I apologize. I forgot to turn off my ringer. Yeah, for me, either way, I honestly, I see the benefits of both, and I'm happy to go either way. It's fine.
You didn't have to fly to LA.
Yeah. So for us, that was a bigger deal, so that we didn't lose a day, and we don't have any days. So that in this instance was easier, but I mean, I would take this problem anytime.
You made that swap with Chicago midway, I think, through the 7th round. What was the kind of thought process behind wanting to take that opportunity?
There were 2 players that we had identified that we thought we had a chance to get, so we thought we could get an extra pick.
But looking at this night, you've had it 2 years in a row, but obviously things happen so fast after the Cup. But what does it mean when you get the pro scouts and the amateur scouts and everyone in kind of the same room together to kind of enjoy the moment? Obviously you're working right now, but at the same time, I'm sure there's a good feeling in that room as you guys kind of also celebrate a little bit.
We haven't, maybe tonight, but the room was all business, and I think it's a unique characteristic of this group. our talk was solely focused on improving, getting better, what are our options, why. Some great arguments, some great discourse back and forth. But I mean, other than there's the one-off stories and the interaction, you spend a lot of inordinate number of hours over the last 24 together. Our focus has been on, for example, free agents, getting them for next year, the year after, 2 or 3 years, planning, budgeting, and all of the what-ifs that could come into any of the models that we might come up with, whether it's financial, physical, health, team. It's a pretty thorough and sometimes very, sometimes it's very haphazard, which kind of makes it a longer and a little more disorganized, but generally has generated really productive results.
And looking at, going back to Benny for a second, you said it before, Paul said it before, but you talk about the cultural value he brings and kind of how he's been a part of building the culture here. I know by now you hope that everyone in that room's got a little bit of Sam Bennett in them, but how much does just Benny being that guy help this team? How do you put a value on the culture stuff that he does bring here for you guys?
He makes his teammates better, but he is a consummate teammate. So I think people can go through life with a position within a group, within a societal group, whether a club, a team, a family, and you can treat people well and be kind and everything without really even considering them. That's just what I do. It's how I do it. And this is a guy who really does consider his teammates. Yes, his competitiveness is infectious in that, maybe I'll just label it that warrior spirit that he has, or the way that he plays and shows up in the big games. But there's also a side of him as just a revered teammate and friend to that room. And I'm really proud to be able to be part of something that he's a part of.
Bill, speaking of culture, one thing Coach always mentions when players are called up from Charlotte is how tremendously prepared they are to step right in. And you think about these draft picks, whatever their journey may look like, as they work their way towards becoming a Florida Panther. How valuable is it that whatever level, whatever step in their journey, they're getting consistent messaging, they're experiencing what the culture is like before they get to this level so that they can step right in?
It's invaluable, and it's really difficult because no matter what our system is, you have to have the players that fit into that system. And when we draft, we typically will draft maybe the best available player. And there's a learning curve and a process. The guys who come here, well, a lot of the guys who have come and have already been pros from other places, we've seen them play. They've been around the National Hockey League. A lot of that learning curve they've already absorbed, and then they also know how to absorb it. And they come in and they, for the most part, there's a lot of pieces to their games that already fit, and that's why we got them. But for a young guy coming in, you're learning how to be a pro. You're learning how to eat. You're literally learning how to sleep. All the things that go on the physical side, then the team side, then the pro side, then the fatigue. You're learning the systems. And sometimes they don't have the same players we have. And the coaches are trying to teach a system so that when they come up, they can fit in. But it's really, really hard because it's our system. And it doesn't necessarily work for anybody. You have to have the right kinds of players. So for Jordy and the staff to be able to do that, it's a lot of patience, it's a lot of hard work, and mostly it's getting the players to believe in them, which they've done. And it's reflected in how well they did this season.
When it comes to Sam, fifth or sixth guy you've given the year to, how important is that for you guys to build this thing and keep everybody together? I know Barkov was the first, and then it's going down the road, but Sam talked about it today. Just we're
What
all
did he
part
say?
of this, that we're built together, and that kind of thing. That you don't have to worry about.
I believe that. It's fun to say, right? Say nice things. Oh, the guys, they believe in each other and they want to be here. But it's true. And I think for those of you who are around the team a lot, you can sense that. The 8 years helps, obviously. People talk about these players who stay, and the guys who stay generally take discounts. You look at our roster and then ask what they could be making other places. And it's because they want to be part of it and they understand. It's not a financial decision to take less. Somebody asked me if I was negotiating. Not one. I'm mediating because we're spending it all. We're trying to get everybody happy, and then if you guys want to be here, we want to treat you as fairly as we can so that we can stay and we can keep the team together because teams win. Period.
And now that he's signed, I mean, that was all, from what we assumed was priority one, getting that deal done so the other slots could be filled in.
I don't really want to. It got done first, but I would say that we've been discussing all of them, but everything is so intertwined. And when you spend to the cap, and you do it for as many years as we have, and commit to as many guys as we have, the wiggle room on little things is really, really difficult. And so sometimes you just have to keep at it so that you can fit everybody and keep the team and the corpus of the team together.
Any other questions?
Well,
Yeah.
you said after the cup win that you thought you could sign the three, Ekblad,
Mhm.
Marchand, and Benny, obviously. Do you still feel that way today? with the
Yeah,
players left?
I have an idea. If what I think isn't accurate, and it might not be, okay, we have a plan B and a plan C, but my preference, and maybe I'm hoping, is that there's enough for guys to want to stay, to be part of this, and be treated fairly, and be happy, and that's the most important thing.
Do you feel like you're getting that vibe in the back and forth?
I don't really.
We know that.
I don't know to comment on it, and I don't know if it would be accurate. So, sorry.
Bill,
Yeah.
on the idea of happiness, just last week, Benny talked about it a lot in his interview today, but just, we heard from the other guys too, but just how great it is here. I would never want to go anywhere else. Like, they talk about how you take care of them, and the ownership, and their teammates, and obviously the winning. You took a couple of years to build this team and kind of everything into what it is now. Is there a next step towards building that, whether it's the hospitality or everything? It's obviously the practice rink and everything, but can you continue to grow that way as an organization into making this somehow even more attractive than it already is?
Yeah, honestly, I'd say we're going to 50%. So there's so much, and every little thing matters, and it's that attention to detail to try to make sure that we're going to screw things up. We're going to do things wrong. We're going to make selfish mistakes. We're going to make innocent mistakes. But the hockey focus every day is win. And so long as we keep that focus, we'll be okay. And then don't get comfortable. So don't, like you said, right? Oh, what else can you do? There's so much more we can do. And if there's nothing else, if you think there's nothing else you can do, just ask someone else. Someone will come up with something that can be better. And if we keep trying to do that, I think we can keep improving. We can keep trying to help the players help themselves be better. And that happiness thing, of course, people will be sad in the course of life, right? But we just want to make sure that there's not artificial friction put on life for no reason. When you're here, you have to work hard. And we demand an awful lot of Panthers. The league demands an awful lot of these men, right? Think about the schedule. Now with the Olympics, it's so hard. And, I mean, hard relative, right? But it's a grind, and it's emotionally draining and physically draining. But there is I think, a respect for the game that our group has, and in tandem with respect for each other, that they're able to pull the fun out of it wherever it is. And we're really lucky. We're really blessed that we have good people who care about each other, who love hockey, and who want to win.